Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Al Muldrake. I am here to talk about the series finale or season finale of Westworld, depending on what happens in the future. We don't know if we're going to get a season 5 of Westworld, and this was the last episode of season 4. Has been done in a way that we could finish it here, and it would be interesting to see where we go from here should we get a new season. So thank you for joining me. I apologise if this has been a little bit later than anticipated. I've not been well over the last few days, and I've just not been in a position to record my thoughts down. There's a lot of things that come to mind when I was watching this. There was allusions to like sort of Battlestar Galactica and the end of that show. I enjoyed the kind of nihilistic approach of William and how that portrays itself in the real world, if we are to anticipate that this is actually in the real world and not just a one massive simulation, which it could end up being. We never know. I thought that Charlotte giving Dolores the opportunity to go around one last time was really good. I thought that having Charlotte in the position of, she is a Dolores at the end of the day, and that's built into her, and being able to give that last go around to see the beauty in this world, and obviously we'll see that as she sits down by the riverbed there, and accepts her fate in that way. I thought was a nice change, and I think she's come to accept things especially with regards to William and the way that William's story is told, because William is very nihilistic, as I said, and I think the way that has been portrayed has been more of an existential questioning, I suppose, because William is asking the question of, if I have walked in someone's shoes, if I have walked in their mind, if I have been that person for so long, what is the difference between that and actually being the person? And I think this is something that comes up a lot in the show, and I know that Charlotte had said that you've been infected by him, and it poses those big philosophical questions of like, I think therefore I am. But if you're thinking about the person, then how can you be that person if you're a copy, and things like that. So it's really an interesting concept, and as I say, science fiction deals with this a lot in the shows. Having this idea that you've got William, who mentioned either last episode or the episode before with the cockroaches, that it's the survival of the fittest, that's how the world is going to do. It's basically it's the mutual assured destruction is the word, which is the idea that if you've got two nuclear powers, that if one of them was to fire a nuclear weapon off, and then the other one would retaliate, and that would assure our destruction. So it's a tactic to stop that from happening, and William believes that is what's going to happen. That it's the survival of the fittest. There'll be a small clump of people left in the world who are able to survive, and that's it. Where you've got Charlotte, who wanted to go the other way and wanted to transcend, go beyond their body, beyond this realm, and live more of an ethereal have more of an ethereal presence in the transcending nature. And in between you've got Dolores asking these questions, Dolores seeing beauty in the world and seeing sentient life as what it should be, and having this opportunity, and even mentioning the fact that humanity might not survive, and probably from the looks of it won't survive. I think Riobalm had predictions in the whole Arrival kind of iconography that they had in the last season, where they said that I think there was a date set for the end of humanity, and the dinosaurs went 65 million years ago, and we are here now, and people only, and then I think she says something along the lines of like, people only live as long as the last person who remembers them. So having that as a play on that, I know, as I say, Battlestar Galactica tropes incoming, but the idea of Hera in Battlestar Galactica, who was a Cylon human hybrid, and when they arrive on Earth and create Earth, and then move 150,000 years into the future, and you see that we are at the precipice of the technological world, and the Cylons are just about to become sentient, and that will be the stepping stone to the next phase of evolution, and then we get the whole thing recycling itself, which is something that that Westworld is very similar in doing. I mentioned Plato's Cave a few episodes ago, and we get that again in here with Dolores' realization and the reflections that she has of the characters like sort of Maya, who we haven't seen for some time, and of course Teddy, who is in the Sublime somewhere, but she was able to recreate him so well because she remembers so much of him. And I think that will come into play in next season, if we get a next season, hopefully, with all the Warner Brother HBO kind of stuff going on. It's going to be an interesting few months with media and streaming media and things. So that in itself is going to be quite strange. It does leave it in a position where we can leave it at this point, though. And I think, as I say, the idea that Dolores can continue on the story without human presence there, and this one final test of is this sentient life that the hosts are in the Sublime, is that able to be portrayed, and is this test going to be the one that will prove that we are all capable, the hosts are capable of becoming the next evolution of sentient life, and I like that aspect. A lot of people might not like the dystopian feel to it, but I really enjoyed the dystopian feel to it. At least they remember, or Dolores will remember all of that, and I think that is good. I think in the previous seasons as well, we've had Rehoboam, the information that Dolores was uploaded to or downloaded to in relation to the Pearl and the library, which I can't remember exactly what it was called now, where she had all the information of all the park guests will come in handy for next season. And as people will know, if you've been listening to me, I'm a big X-Files fan, and Chris Carter was renowned for saying that nobody really dies on the X-Files. Well, that is so true in Westworld. This sets up anything, everyone can come back because it's the simulation of Dolores' information, so we can be bringing people back. We can have whoever we want back. Speaking of that, the Delos experiment with Caleb, that Caleb gets a chance to see his child grow up and see Frankie grow up, and is able to protect her that one last time. I thought I enjoyed that. I don't think it landed as strong as it could have. I did feel that some of the editing was perhaps a bit too long, and the emotional resonance wasn't quite there with that. So I'm not overly happy with that scene. I enjoyed it, but I'm not sure that the way that it was put together was the best. It was nice to see Clementine again. I have a soft spot for Clementine. Unfortunately, she's not had the best story as such right through the show, really, and I do like the actress. And I did like the kind of Terminator-esque fight scene between Caleb and them, and it definitely felt like that we had a Reese moment with regards to Caleb. I thought that definitely had those feelings for me, that it felt like that was what was happening there, and it felt very Terminator. And Clementine was full on, and she wanted to go in and go out into the world. I think she said something along the lines of helping people, and to have her released and to go about her business and to be free from her reins was again a nice touch. It was at least something that she could do. Where she went with it is probably not my favorite, but it's fine. I understand that it's not a problem, and it was there were good scenes with Frankie, Clementine, and Caleb. I thought that they were actually really good. And then brings me to, I think, the final piece, which I think what I find fascinating with the Sublime, and I've been thinking about this over the last couple of weeks, that we've got Dolores as bringing in the park. We had Charlotte wanting everyone to transcend, and people with the free will didn't necessarily want that. They were quite happy within the bodies of themselves. You've got the Man in Black wanting this survival of the fittest aspect to it. And then you've got the Sublime, where people are living out the thing that they want to do. And I've been parsing that a little bit, and I don't know if it is a discussion or a comment on the world as we are. If you think about, I think it's called The Truth, the new social media platform that Donald Trump has created, and Twitter has its own. I've been, especially as I've been looking at Twitter over the last couple of days in regards to X-Files fandom, that you have pockets of people who have their own, own groups of people, and you have this kind of thing where you'll find your people, and whether or not that will be a positive or a negative thing is up for people to decide. That I'm not going to suggest anything like that, but clumping your own people together, or people with your own likes, can be a positive experience. Having a wider macro world view of things is really important, and I think sometimes that can get missed. And I think the Sublime, I don't know if there'll be a story element to it, but I feel like they may be missing a trick with that, because the Sublime with the hosts, if you think about Stephen Ogg's character, who was at the beginning of this episode, that he is a very different character to Dolores. He's just out there for the fun. He's a bit like Men in Black in that way, and he gets he gets hit with an axe, which is great. It's always great seeing Trevor from Grand Theft Auto on screen in whatever show he does, Walking Dead, this and whatever. I always like to see Stephen Ogg. But you've got the hosts that they can create their own reality, and I don't know if there's enough done with that. Should season 5 come around and they actually focus more on that, I would be really pleased with that. Because it is one final test. It's a dangerous test. So I can see that may be a way that they're going. Loop has always been something that is instilled in the Westworld philosophy. And I liked also Charlotte's earrings. They were kind of like an infinity symbol. They were a bit like a number 8, where time will repeat itself, and it's a never-ending loop, which was good. And then there'll be debates and discussions that'll be had with whether or not this is all a simulation, and it's actually, people running simulations within simulations, and you'll come to the end of it, and it's just someone, it's just someone playing around with multiple Earths, like in Men in Black, Men in Black. Then that would maybe be a bit too much, but it is certainly possible. But I think the way that Westworld is set up is to talk about the one sentience and what is one soul, effectively, because that's what Dolores has been built for, is a construct. People like Caleb is, if you take it as face value, people like Caleb was a sentient soul potentially with a soul, and does that soul transcend into the other bodies of Delos that he's been built into, or is sentient something like the maze that some people have to just find the way, and the reflections in which Dolores actually does that is a case in point with that she has to have these friends and have this programmed within her to guide her through her path to enlightenment, which is again that Plato's cave thing like I spoke about a couple of weeks back. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, and I think if it is a season or series finale, I think it works to a point. Would I have liked it? Could it have gone up a couple of notches? Potentially. But at the same time, I think season 4 has been a wonderful season, and I've really enjoyed covering it. It was something that I wanted to do for a YouTube channel. I wasn't sure what to do. And as I was deciding, this Westworld was coming on the screen. So it's been great. Next week, I'm going to start looking at Star Trek Lower Decks and doing a quick review on that. But if anyone has any ideas or any thoughts that want me to cover anything, please like and subscribe and join me, and I'll certainly look into it. I will have some information about a new project that I'm doing soon as well, so keep an eye on my channel to like and subscribe. I thought about doing a full like review, writing out a script and doing what everyone else is doing, but I want to give you my general immediate thoughts, and obviously watching me blather on for so long is just things that will condense in my brain, and when I watch this back, I'll kind of have more feelings towards it. But thank you for staying the course with me, and hopefully you'll stay and watch some more reactions for me and keep an eye on my channel. But until next time, I want to find beauty in this world.